You're welcome back, and it's time for us to delve into the newspapers, but not before we say good morning to you, Mama V.
Yeah, good morning. Like you say, we, like you and Roland.
We, everybody watching.
I am so important, I guess.
Yes, indeed,
Yeah.
and it's great to see you. I hope you had a good evening.
I'm good.
Yes.
It's not so good for Roland.
No,
this
we're
morning.
missing him this morning.
Yeah.
But hopefully he'll be back tomorrow.
Sure.
I hear you've got some big plans to step out into the wide world and find somebody interesting to talk to this morning.
Yeah. So, you know, this whole thing about pageants.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
I don't know what you think. Is this still relevant today? With all the Miss Ghana things happening
I know,
every day.
I mean, with the recent resignation of Miss Ghana.
Hasn't ever happened like this before.
I wonder. But she obviously resigned quite loudly, didn't she, with some posts on social media.
Yeah.
But Miss Universe is a pageant that has been continuing throughout the years.
Absolutely.
One of its previous winners, of course, is the lady you'll be interviewing today.
Yeah.
Wife of Sule Muntari as well, in addition to what she herself has been achieving.
Yeah.
But no doubt there will be some interesting things to talk about.
Oh, there will be. I think it will be appropriate to begin from the relevance of this whole pageants today.
Yeah.
Maybe some time back, yes. Because, you know, they used to say, oh, we want to boost the confidence of the young women. And all winners will say one thing, that it helped them. I wanted to be Miss Ghana some time back. Yeah.
Oh, I think
but
you
I
were
thought I
in
didn't
with
have
a
the
shot.
heights.
Ah,
So
you
I
were
didn't.
eliminated.
So we have that conversation coming up
Yeah.
later this morning.
Yeah, I look forward to it. I look forward to it.
But
It
it's
should be
Wednesday, so
interesting.
we've got AM Business.
That is
courtesy
true.
EcoBank.
Yeah, I can't wait for that either. And of course, I have a feeling that some of the stories that have made the headlines in today's papers will also make it into AM Biz today. For example, on the front page of the Daily Graphic, cost of borrowing drops. Stanbic base rate is down from 24 to 16%. Actually, in the story, it says it's down from 26% to 16%, which is, you know, we've been talking about this for a bit. You know, the fact that the Bank of Ghana reduced its policy rate ages ago. In fact, has reduced it a few times, but the banks were slow to respond. But Stanbic Bank now says that if you borrow from them, at least 10% of the interest you would have had to pay in the past, you get to keep.
Yeah.
You know, with this reduction from 26 to 16%, this will mean a lot to businesses.
And you know, this disclosure was made yesterday at the Graphic Business Stanbic Business breakfast meeting at the Labadi Beach Hotel.
That's true. A lot of other revelations were made there. I'll talk about a few of them in later
I know you talk
newspapers.
one district, one factory.
No doubt. I heard that, didn't you?
I did as well.
Right then. So suspend SHS double intake. That's a call being made by the Education Coalition. And Ghana faces housing glut despite deficit. Pages 12 and 53 have the details of that particular story. It's quite fascinating, but let's first look at what the Education Coalition is saying about their call to suspend the double track calendar. Now, this, of course, continues to be a topic of discussion. Yesterday, a member of government listened to Roland and I talk about it on the AM show and came all the way here because he wanted to engage us. You know,
He's your guest this morning.
Yes,
actually,
indeed.
on air. He's going to face you.
Indeed.
Get ready for him.
I can't wait. I can't wait. And it was a fascinating discourse yesterday. But the Ghana National Education Campaign Coalition is calling for government to suspend its decision to implement the double intake system for senior high schools. Rather, the coalition, which is made up of 360 different institutions, has asked the government to pilot the system for at least a year before rolling it en masse. Of course, this call brings back the simple question of what's the alternative? We still have a load of new entrants who don't yet have seats. They don't have places in senior high school. Yet it's supposed to be free. So, you know, they are supposed to have access to it. So what is the alternative? If the coalition says scrap it, pilot it, what do we do with these extra numbers? Can we run a pilot that is big enough subsume all of these numbers? Is that even possible?
Still very tricky. Still very tricky.
Yeah.
But they say not all schools. That's also another kind of conversation. So what happens to the calendar?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed, because already, I mean, we've heard, and this is weird, where we heard it from. We heard it from the chairman of the Education Committee in Parliament. Okay, so it's not the executive, it's Parliament now telling us that, well, actually, our understanding of this is that it's not all schools that are going to participate. We haven't heard this from the Ministry of Education. We still haven't heard enough clarity from the Ministry of Education, and somebody there should be concerned about
We're
this.
still finding ourselves with regards to this matter, I guess.
Indeed. And there's a possibility of a housing glut despite the well-known and much lamented housing deficit. We're expecting a glut, but I wonder where this glut will be occurring. Page 15 has all the details, and I'm scrambling to find it with my rather dry fingertips. Here we are, page 15, and it's an advert. Daily Graphic. Try again another time. Oh,
They
actually,
swerved you.
it says page
You probably
12.
have to
Forgive me, it's my mistake.
So you went to
Page
the wrong
12.
page.
I went to the wrong page. I nearly picked a fight with my dear friends at the Daily Graphic. But yes, page 12 says Ghana faces housing glut despite deficit. In an ironic twist of fact, Ghana is currently experiencing a glut in housing, but many citizens cannot afford decent housing. Since 2010, Ghana has been tagged as experiencing a housing deficit of 1.7 million units. I thought it was actually 2 million units, but this says 1.7. However, present trends show that the probable increase in deficit may not be because of an increase in population, but due to the inability of citizens to afford houses. So there are several half-completed, houses and apartment blocks where work has stalled because the developers are unable to secure the funding to complete them, mainly because there aren't enough people coming forward with ready funds or mortgages to buy these homes. So I can see the logic in this particular story there. So the deficit is not entirely up to the fact that we haven't built enough homes. It's just that we can't afford them.
So, that's why here at Multimedia, we bring you the annual Habitat Fair. Yes. The conversation is so we can all afford something that, we can pay off and not really feel it.
Indeed.
Yeah, so we gather, we put people in the industry, people who build houses, who sell things that we use in building houses, so that if you're building, you can continue with a variety on the market. If you're looking to buy an already made home, you know what you're getting yourself into. So get ready. The first of 2 clinics is happening this weekend at the Achimota Mall. It will happen on Saturday and on Sunday. So we urge you to be there at the Achimota Mall. Let's begin. And beginning this Friday and every Friday till we're done with the Habitat Fair, we'll have our home series is a conversation and our first conversation really is on, would you build or should you build or buy? What kind of conversation should you begin to have? What kind of questions should you ask yourself before arriving at that decision whether to build or to buy? It'll be interesting. We're talking with people within the industry, and it's all just so you can get properly prepared for this year Habitat Fair. Is brought to you in collaboration with M&C Properties. The fair brings together finance houses, construction firms, real estate developers, dealers in furnishing, and a whole lot more. It kickstarts Saturday, August 4 to Sunday, August 5. This will be the first mini clinic at the Achimota Mall from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. You can bring the entire family. Children are allowed. There's a beautiful playground for the children. There will be a second clinic at the West Hills Mall from Saturday, August 18 to Sunday, August 19, 2018. Also from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. There's the JoyNews Western World Properties Habitat Fair 2018. Brought to you by Western World Properties. Live your true comfort. M&C Properties, a choice of class, elegant homes and general construction, where you live your dream, and Fortune City Estates, our house, our fortune. So make sure you don't miss out affordable housing for, let's get you a home. That's
Indeed.
Everybody's dream, Kojo.
Yeah, and you know, there's another reason why you really need to go to this fair, okay? It's kind of, just buying a house is really like buying anything. You can't sit at home and decide that you can't afford it. You need to go into the market, speak to those who are in the business, have a conversation. The way prices work is as a result of a conversation. Those who are building need to talk to those who are buying, you know, and then come to some kind of compromise. You need to be part of that discussion. So come and meet our wonderful sponsors who have great, great housing products across the country. And I can assure you that no matter how expensive you think it is or how far outside your budget you think a home is, if you talk to these people, chances are there is a house, a perfect home, right within your budget, just waiting for you.
And don't miss the home series. The first edition is on Friday. All right, let's do the Ghanaian Times newspaper. On the front page, killing of 7 suspected robbers. Government probes police shooting. 5-member committee given 1 month to present report. This is not surprising, right? But this is it. I think it's the pressure of the people at Aswasi that has resulted in this.
Indeed.
My little prayer is they don't give up, they continue, so that we will see the end of this committee's work and the actions taken thereafter.
Mavi, the story itself is quite interesting. It gives some detail of who the members of the committee will be and who has actually launched or inaugurated this committee. It's the regional minister, the Ashanti regional minister, who has inaugurated it. And it will have members of the clergy, traditional rulers. There will be
there's a
some
BNI
of
rep.
the BNI and the regional BNI, and also a high court judge from the region will be chairing the committee. But Mama Via, I'm wondering, what exactly is in terms of our administrative structure as a nation, where does this committee fall, and what are the powers it has? So if they look into it and they find that somebody is culpable of something, what are the powers that they have to move this forward? What do? Do they then hand their findings back over to the police, the same people who we said are not fit to investigate themselves, and therefore we need an external body? The regional minister himself,
he heads the Regional Security Council.
Yes, so RegSec. What does RegSec, in terms of prosecution of crimes, okay, where does the Regional Security Council sit?
I have a feeling they will make recommendations to governments.
To
governments? To the Interior Ministry or something of a sort.
Right. So in the end, it comes back to the police. But I think
good questions you're asking. So.
Yeah. Anyway, but let's hope that at least they get to do their work and that they find something that the people of the community consider to be, the result of fair work done.
All right, still on the front page of the Ghanaian Times, Supreme Court dismisses application against appointment of the EC chair. And this is one of Fafali's actions at the courts. It was a unanimous decision yesterday by a 7-member panel. And the reasoning is because the Supreme Court, as it stands now, they've got the power, even after a substantive Electoral Commission chair and commissioners are appointed, to nullify it. So let's wait to see what the substantive matter, what the decision in that matter is. And irrespective of what, we still have the power to do it. So that's why the Supreme Court says this is not necessary. This action is unnecessary. So
what they're saying is that if the substantive case is heard,
because that is the argument of whether or not that committee that the Chief Justice set up exceeded its powers.
Yes. So in essence, if when the substantive case is heard, if it is decided that Charlotte Osei was unjustly removed from office, the Supreme Court has the power to annul Jean Mensah's appointment in favor of Charlotte Osei.
Plus the others.
Yes. In favor of Charlotte Osei.
They cite Article 2.2 of the 1992 Constitution, and that states, quote, the Supreme Court shall, for the purposes of a declaration under Clause 1 of this article, make such orders and give such directions as it may consider appropriate for giving effects or enabling effect to be given to the declaration so made.
Right.
So Fafali would have to wait. We'll have to wait for what the decision in that substantive matter. Also on the front page of the paper, yeah, there you have it on your screen. Luxury vehicles levy takes off today. And yesterday the report was a lot of people were rushing so they could beat the deadline. But here we are. This is 1st of August. So I think if you have 3.0 and above, you're paying, it could be up to about 2,000K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It starts from 1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it goes to about.
So that's it. But if you have money to buy such an expensive vehicle, 2,000K shouldn't be a big deal.
Do you know my biggest problem with this thing? Who owns the most large engine capacity
It's
vehicles?
governments now.
Do they pay?
As for that one.
But shouldn't they? Is there anything in our law that says
What would they be paying
should
with?
not
It
pay?
would be our monies that there would be the taxes that they will use to pay that.
Not necessarily.
So-
A lot of it would be internally generated funds. Okay, so
Is it a
if
lot
you-
of it? How many
A lot of it will be. I mean,
of
state
the organizations
institutions that
take care of themselves?
Well, you see, that's because they pay all their money into the consolidated fund. So these are some of the things that should, well, after expenses, they pay the rest into the consolidated fund. So this should be an expense, you know. It should be the cost of doing business. If you are the NCA and you say you can't do your work with small capacity engines, you must do it with large capacity engines, then you have to pay. You know, I think it's fair. Otherwise, in the end, how much would they really raise from this tax?
We'll see. Yeah.
We will.
One last headline, paperless port system, half-year revenue hits 5.8 million Ghana cedis. The whole story is on page 26. You can check it out. They've got these stories. Zimbabwe is awaiting the results of its landmark elections, with both front runners saying they're confident yesterday. So on Tuesday, we saw the opposition address the press, and they say they have won the elections. But we're told that there are also serious police officers who've been unleashed onto the streets. Doing what exactly? Well, we're not sure. So the situation in Zimbabwe, it's not very clear now.
Yeah, well, they only started counting, what, yesterday?
Yes.
Yeah, so let's
But they
see
say
how
the
it goes.
counting has slowed down.
Eish.
Yeah, so there's also the story about 14 companies have been shortlisted for the last stage of the procurement processes for award of contracts for the Eastern Railway line. I'm picking all these from the front page of the Ghanaian Times. Back page now, one factory gets 2.5 billion Ghana cedis boosts from consortium. I see you've read this.
I have. And of course, this goes back to the same event. The
breakfast meeting at the Labadi
yesterday.
Hotel.
Yes, indeed. And that's where the senior minister made this declaration that there's this money to come to boost those who are interested in participating in the venture. And then he goes to make the point that this was always meant to be a private sector-led initiative, and that 50 of the companies who have expressed an interest are ready to go by the end of this year with their factories. He also makes the important point that in the end, it won't actually be a factory in every specific district. Some districts might team up, you know, to have one factory. So in the end, it won't really be one district, one factory. As usual, politics leads with the slogan. And then when the implementation comes along, we start hearing about how it will be a bit different.
So I'll put it differently. Differently. When you're making the promises, you actually don't know what the real situation is because, yeah, of course, it's politics and you're in opposition in this case.
Yeah.
So when you get to the ground, you see the reality and you have to adjust.
Now, if this had been a promise that they had made because they intended to come and use government funds to implement it, and so they couldn't have known from outside that they don't have enough funds, I would understand. But even before the election, they were saying that this is something that is going to be led by the private sector, and they will simply come along and enable it, which means they would simply come along and manage the economy better so that the private sector can participate more in this. We are 18 months into it, and 50 companies are poised, I'm told, to finish by the end of this year.
I think the senior minister also gave a hint that this may not happen within the 4 years. Yeah. Okay, but there's a story in the Daily Graphic, one of the pages, which has to do with the Yendi Hospital,
Right.
where some 90 workers. So first, the story is that they had not been paid since April. They wrote to management, nothing happened. They went to Shrash, and Shrash, that's the regional Shrash,
Yeah.
Started investigations. And then, whilst they were investigating, the hospital put out, they kind of advertised, they were about employing people to replace this 91 persons who have been hanging.
Whoa.
Yeah. So Shrash went to court on that, and they secured an injunction.
Okay.
So
good.
that story, it didn't make the front page. It's a very important story.
Yes,
it's
indeed.
in one of the inside pages in the Daily Graphic.
91
newspaper.
people.
Yeah,
in
91. I
Yendi.
thought it was important to bring it up.
It is. Right, shall we do the daily guide?
Of course.
Supreme Court throws out suit over Charlotte Osei. We've already heard about that. MPs blackmailed to endorse Mahama. That's the banner headline. I'll tell you about that in a minute. Also, 207 companies evade 666 million Ghana cedis tax. Kennedy Japan punches Anas.
That's normal, right?
I don't know whether, because this one doesn't have punches in quotation marks, so I don't know whether they are reporting that
physically.
there was a physical punch. And Bator SHS headmaster in sex scandal.
Ooh.
I'm tired of these things, honestly. But MPs blackmailed to endorse Mahama is on page 3, and I'll read bits of this story to you, okay? Mainly, it's the MP for Nyunyo in the northern region, Joseph Bipoba Nabu, who is saying that he was a victim of this endorsement scam, as is described by the Daily Guide. He disclosed that he was deceived into signing the endorsement for former President John Mahama. According to him, the document was given to him to sign, and he did so thinking he was signing an attendance sheet to check absenteeism in Parliament.
Oh.
Now, he said when the list was making the rounds on the floor of Parliament, there was no indication that it was seeking an endorsement for the former president. He said he later found out from former Deputy Energy Minister John Jinapo and others who came to his office that he had actually signed a document endorsing Mr. Mahama. The MPs for JM campaign is said to be spearheaded by Clement Apak, according to the Daily Guide. But isn't it fascinating that already we are hearing MPs backing out of something that they've signed, claiming they didn't know what they were signing. If you are from this constituency, which constituency does Nabu represent? Unyo. If you are from Unyo, you should really worry.
Yeah.
You should worry that your MP.
But his was a mistake. That's according to the story.
He says
right?
that he believed he was signing something to do with attendance.
And I can imagine that could be possible. I think it's, well, first of all, what is happening within the NDC? Because yesterday I was monitoring a lot of the conversation on radio, and it was interesting. It wasn't MPP, NDC on either side. It was NDC, NDC,
Yes.
except that they had different views in terms of who they were supporting and how some of them were also against this list. A lot of questions coming up. But, first of all, former President John Dramani Mahama has not declared his intentions. No. He hasn't gone to these MPs to ask them to endorse him. But what they've done is that
not
they
officially anyway. We don't know that he has officially approached.
The people who talked yesterday that I listened, they said they were making the appeal. And the response from him is he's heard a lot of people are making appeals, but he hasn't decided on what to do.
Right.
At least he hasn't talked about it formally. But when you look at the other persons who are running, for instance, the former NHI boss,
yes.
he has actually met these MPs and asked for their support.
Yeah.
But what they are saying is, we know some of them have come forward, but we are endorsing the man who has not approached us yet.
Yes.
And we are raising funds for his campaign should he decide to run. It's interesting. The other question is, these people are not in Parliament by themselves. They're representing a lot of people. Is on behalf of the constituency. So are you doing this in what capacity? Because you're not in Parliament in your own capacity as
in Ghana,
whoever.
Unfortunately, we are yet to catch up with the requirements of our own constitution. And so people in Parliament tend to represent their party first, or maybe is it themselves first, I don't know. But they certainly don't represent their constituents first. You know, here
they will disagree with you.
Well, how they will have to prove. They will have to prove that they do. Which of their constituents came and asked them to do this? And by the way,
at least there's one who is saying that the people within the constituency are pushing him to support JM.
Look, when you win,
name is coming up. Yes, go ahead.
When you win in your constituency and become their member of parliament, it's kind of like when you win and become president. You're not president of your party only. You're president of the entire nation. Okay, so when you are taking actions and you say that it's in the interest of your constituents, which percentage of your constituents? And how many of them actually came to you and said, please go and endorse the man who has not said he will run?
Okay.
How many?
So Kwabena Minta Kando.
That's him?
Yes. He says majority of the people in the constituency. I heard him on radio yesterday.
I would like to see by which margin he even won his seat, you know, to determine whether the majority of the people in his constituency actually chose him as MP. Before, let alone
it doesn't matter. Even if it's a 1 point difference, you're still representing majority of the people.
No, not necessarily. If 4 parties were represented in it and you won the largest share, it may not necessarily be majority of the constituency. It may just be the largest share of the vote. You know,
well,
but most importantly, the idea that the people in his constituency came to him and their priority, the thing they wanted him to do for them, was not to, you know, push for laws to build roads or anything, but to go and raise money for the campaign of a person who has not said.
Hang on, he didn't say to raise money, but to support.
That's what the coalition is seeking to do, isn't it? Yeah,
that's what they're seeking to do.
Petition him to run and raise money for his campaign. That's what they said.
It's interesting. We haven't had them come together to raise monies to undertake projects within constituencies.
No.
Yeah. It's interesting.
How is that more important than getting
however, I think
John
what is
Mahama to
happening
run?
within the NDC is beautiful. I like it. They're not fighting. They're just expressing different opinions. And I like that. They're not hiding and doing it. They're doing it openly.
But
I think it's
politics,
nice.
Isn't it?
You know, we say it's a democratic society. And I think that they're living it by what they're doing.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well.
All right, let's take to the newspapers. Quickly, we'll do online. Let's do the Finder newspaper. Front page of the Finder, 13.2% rise in port revenue in first half of 2018, partly due to single window system. There's a picture of the customs division of the GRA, the commissioner, Isaac Krenzel, on the front page of the paper, if you get to see it in a bit. Injunction suit to stop appointment of new EC boss dismissed. New Ameri deal inconclusive, according to a Deputy Information Minister, Opong Nkrumah. Ghana Water Company condemns smear campaign against board chair. And Ghana sowing seeds of debilitating conflict, according to Professor Kwesi Boche. That's a big word right there.
Sorry, I forgot to mention the 207 companies who have evaded about 666 million Ghana cedis worth of tax. This is in the Daily Guide. I believe it's on page 10. But Mamabi, I want you to bear that number in mind. 666 million Ghana cedis, not to be superstitious with the 666 or anything. But this is a lot of money.
It is.
If you think of the opportunity cost of this money, you know, how much of the free SHS problem could this have solved?
Yeah.
Okay, this is probably far more money than the GRA will be able to raise through this luxury car tax in 1 year. Okay, yet these companies, 207 of them, have evaded it. And the finance minister, during the mid-year review, stated that government would intensify tax compliance and plug existing revenue leakages. He talked about investigations that they've undertaken, which have revealed some of these leakages. And then he says, we are rolling out major initiatives to address these tax compliance issues. These initiatives will include prosecution of tax evaders and corrupt tax officials, and then a special VAT task force to ensure enforcement and deepen VAT penetration from the current low levels of 11%, and institutional reforms at GRA. Now, apart from the institutional reforms at GRA, none of this is new initiatives. It is already part of our law that anyone who evades tax should be prosecuted. Why is the finance minister saying they are now going to introduce that? He also says what? They are going to set up a special VAT task force to ensure enforcement. Is enforcement not already a requirement of the GRA? So why are we now hearing that these are new initiatives? For me, this is a difficulty with the way we run government here. We've already written the Constitution in 1992 and passed all kinds of laws, all kinds of bills into law. Yet every day we come out and say we are initiating something which is already on our law books. What you want, what you really should say, what you should say to the people of Ghana is that we have failed so far to do our job. We are going to start doing it. That's the truth. Not that you've come up with a new initiative and the new initiative is we will enforce the law. We will prosecute people. Really?
Let's finish off with the Daily Dispatch and then we'll do myjoyonline.com for hopefully be able to do the BBC as well. On the front page of the Daily Dispatch though, KPMG writes to Minister of Finance, pay government debts to Unibank to prevent collapse. We knew about this. JoyNews got hints of this, I think 2 days ago or so. Also, down memory lane, how CIA agents were busted in Ghana in 1985. New Ameri deal a betrayal, according to Kofi Bentel of Imani. So these are the front page headlines, the Daily Dispatch newspaper. Whilst we get ready to do myjoyonline.com, I have a birthday wish. Okay, well, we will not be able to do myjoyonline.com, but I certainly can say a happy birthday, though belated, to my colleague, Thelma J, channel executive at Doom TV. Was her birthday yesterday.
Oh, happy birthday, Thelma.
She is a chilling sister.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Should I also say happy birthday to someone, if that's
absolutely.
Okay? Well, my friend Abigail Brony's mother is celebrating her birthday today. Mama, happy birthday to you. I know you love to watch the Joy News channel. So from all of us here, we wish you the very best of the day. We hope you celebrate in style. I know Abigail will spoil you rotten. Enjoy it. You deserve it.
Okay, let's see if we can read some of your messages. Certainly having challenges with the messages downloading. There's a backing up of messages, something like that. So I'm not able to read. But
what a pity.
Yeah,
let me see if
but
I
we'll
can
come
find
back.
them.
We'll come back and share your messages.
It's a pity when people talk to us and we can't.
Yeah. I have lots of the messages, except that I can't open them up.
Yeah, well, it's a pity. I can't see any here on Facebook. But of course, lots of people have been watching us live. Keep watching. Thank you so much. It's always great to have you with us. Right then. So
I wish we could open the phone lines to make up for the messages that we're not able to read.
I know.
But today is Wednesday. We have to bring you AM Business. Today we're talking about suspected case of the bacterial black spot disease and how it's wreaking havoc on mango farms across the country. Details in AM Business after sport. We've got sports coming up. There are some stranded athletes and journalists somewhere in Nigeria. They're still stranded. Benedict will let us know. And still the transfer window is open. There are people going here and there. New signings here and
Which
there.
team do you support?
United forever.
Okay. Who's on your shopping list?
I don't know, but all I know is that my manager has been complaining. He's just been complaining. They are not allowing him to do what he wants to do.
Oh.
People are saying, is he lamenting? Like, is this a way to exit? Is it like an exit strategy for Mourinho?
Maybe he just misses, managing a team owned by a billionaire, Russian who will throw enough money at the problem for him to get his dream team together. Maybe that's what he's lamenting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You think he should leave?
I think he should, actually. I don't like his style of play. Yeah, I don't like his style of play. I wish he would leave. But, people like him. So
I like him.
He just attacks. Like, he turns everybody into... Like, I don't get it.
I like him.
Okay, later this morning, I have a conversation with a former Miss Universe.
Yeah.
Who actually organizes the Miss Universe in Ghana. I'm not Did we mention her name? Oh, yes, we have.
Yes.
I can't keep it. I wanted to keep it.
Yes. Although I've got to say, I would love for her to teach us how to pronounce her name.
Okay.
Because I hear some people say Minaye. I hear some people say Mine. I'd love for her to teach us.
Have you heard her pronounce it?
Yes.
How did she say it?
She says Mine.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I wonder where that would be from.
Which
Maybe
part of,
Milan.
Which part of
because
Ghana
I know in Ghana
is
she's
Mine from?
Ashanti and Fanti.
Or maybe her parents, made up the name,
Okay, that would be my first question.
Yes.
Yeah,
Where
that'll be
from
the
your
first
name
question.
and how do I pronounce it?
Yeah, exactly. Before we proceed.
Before you get into anything. Yes, I'll be watching. So and so will you, no doubt, when Mamavi and Mine Donko have a conversation later this morning.
Otherwise, I'll simply just say Mrs. Montari. That's acceptable, right?
Even though I wonder whether she has taken her husband's name.
Well,
that's another question. My gosh, it'll be a while
listen,
before they start talking about beauty pageants at this rate. But we will certainly learn a lot in the interim, won't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Later this morning, though, Kojo will have a conversation with Imano Chiremating Ejako, who is Member of Parliament for Ayawaso West Wogon constituency, who has a battle with him already. But Roxing Nelson Dafamakbo is Member of Parliament for Saldai. I wonder if he signed it, if it's part of the over 90 MPs.
That would be my first question to him.
Exactly, where does he belong? Because I haven't heard him.
Yeah, and did he think he was signing an attendance register?
So stay with us. We've got sports coming up right after this.